Mimi the mouse was a tiny creature with big dreams. Living in a cozy corner of an old house, her days were spent scavenging for crumbs and dodging the resident cat, Whiskers. But Mimi was not like any other mouse. She had a fascination with the world beyond the walls of her little home. One day, as she nibbled on a piece of cheese, she heard some humans talking about a grand garden beyond the house. A place filled with flowers, tall grasses, and most importantly, no cats. Mimi's heart raced with excitement. That night, under the cover of darkness, Mimi decided to embark on an adventure. She navigated through the narrow passages, avoiding the sleeping Whiskers with bated breath. At last, she found a small crack in the wall that led to the outside world. For the first time, Mimi felt the soft breeze and smelled the fresh air. The garden was everything she imagined and more. Flowers bloomed in every color, and there were more crumbs than she could ever hope to scavenge. She made friends with other small creatures, like Bert the beetle and Sally the snail. Each day was an adventure of its own, but she knew she had to return to her old home before nightfall. One evening, as she was admiring a particularly beautiful flower, she noticed the sky turning dark and stormy. She hurried back towards the house, but the rain came pouring down. The crack in the wall was sealed by the mud, and Mimi was left outside, shivering and drenched. Remembering an old story her grandmother had told her about a secret passage in the garden, Mimi searched desperately. At last, she found an overgrown tunnel leading back to the house. She squeezed through and found herself back in the warmth of her cozy corner. Whiskers was still asleep, oblivious to her grand adventure. Mimi smiled to herself. She had found a way to balance her dreams of exploration with the safety of her home. And every day after, when the weather was clear, she ventured into the garden, knowing she could always find her way back. In her heart, she knew she was not just an ordinary mouse, she was an adventurer.